Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to wherever you are in this world. Welcome to our Institution of Global Professionals free webinar. Thank you all for joining and staying with us until the end. So, tonight, I am your host. I am Vrendale, or you can call me Dale. So, I am a teacher here in Vietnam, but I'm originally from the Philippines. So I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member, and I feel honored and privileged to host this webinar. It's my delight to welcome you all to our Institution of Global Professional Fee webinar. Thank you once again for joining us tonight in this marvelous evening, and it's my humble request and pleasure for all of you to stay with us until the end. For I am sure you will have many takeaways and payoffs from this webinar. From time to time, you can like and comment in our webinar. Please don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friends in the comment box. So, let's watch and learn together. We believe that power is gained by sharing knowledge, by not hoarding it. Once again, I'm Vrendale, a core volunteer and a member of IGP from the Philippines. Every day, there are some new participants who join us, so I have to share a little background about IGP. First and foremost, IGP stands for Institution of Global Professionals that serves students and community resources, providing holistic social work and education to create a proficient generation, including us. IGP is leading on online skill development institute with thousands of learners worldwide. We make use for every knowledge seeker to originate personality, to be more ambitious, to be confident to face any circumstances, and to develop their own skills. We are also entrusted with international recognitions, and we organized our webinars, trainings, offline and online courses, and many more with the best and trained speakers, coaches from all around the world to create the best learning platform for all of you. Our mission is to empower and to enhance people. We have already completed 197 webinars successfully, and these are successful because of your presence. We expect that all of you are getting values in personal development and in professional growth, and we wish that once again you will stay with us together in this long journey. Let me remind you again, please don't forget to share, tag, comment, and mention your friends in the comment box because your attachment encourage us to do better and best service to our lovely audiences. Our mission is to empower our youth, so please support us by staying all throughout the session. I am cordially welcoming you all. Today, we are presenting the webinar, the 197th one on psychology role in education, with one speaker for tonight, and that is in the person of Mr. Goodison B. Dolfo. So let's start our program with a mantra, feed your skill. So it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce our speaker for tonight. He is a program head from the Northern Zambales College Incorporated, a proprietor, Mega Academics and Publications. Let's all welcome Mr. Godison B. Dolfo. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Miss Dale. Thank you for very
Yes,
much for the wonderful presentation
my
and
pleasure,
or
sir.
introduction. Okay.
My pleasure.
To all our viewers, members around the globe, again, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. So, my task is to present to you and discuss the role of psychology in education. Okay. So, allow me to present my piece, of course. My name is Godison or Gadison B. Dolfo. I am connected with the Northern Zambales College in the Philippines, one of the local college here in the Philippines. And currently, I am running a publication office, the MEGS Academics and Publications. And of course, trying and authoring books in criminology. And of course, we are helping criminology students for their preparation in the criminology licensure examination here in the Philippines. Okay, so of course I have my ORCID number as a member, no, and my Gmail email account is in the Gmail, no, godisondolfo@gmail.com, and of course my FB page, GB Dolfo. Okay. So, allow me to discuss or to present the objectives of tonight's topic on the role of psychology in education. And please don't get wonder why a criminologist like me will be discussing psychology in education. I will discuss it or I will touch it later on. What is the significance of those? Okay. So, our main objective is to understand the concept of psychology and its application, particularly to education or in education. Okay? And of course, appreciate the role of psychology in education, specifically on the part of the learners, the teachers, the school, and of course, the program that the school is offering. Okay. So, in general, we have to understand what psychology is all about. For the curriculum here in the Philippines, the general education curriculum, particularly in higher education, psychology subject is uh, removed, was removed in the curriculum. But of course, through bridging programs, uh, universities and colleges may offer it, no, in order for their students, learners to understand what psychology is all about. Okay. So, in general, psychology is defined as the study of human mind and, of course, human behavior. So, human mind and human behavior. How mind of human works, and of course, how human behave. Okay. So, the behavior of the human or the man is one of the focus of the study of psychology. Why? Because it can be observed directly or indirectly. It could be voluntarily or involuntary. It and of course it can be affected by factors surrounding, no, the human or the man. So the study of human mind and behavior affects, or the human mind and behavior affects the faculties and particularly physical traits of human or man. Of course, mental process, how man or human think, and of course, the actions and reactions. So, primarily the faculties and physical traits, the mental process, and the actions and reactions. These three constitute human behavior, and of course, including how mind of man works, which we refer as mental process. Okay. To generalize, psychology has something to do with the study, explanation, and going into details about how man think, feel, and act. How the man feel, think, and act. How about human nature? Human nature is considered as the exclusive and innate possession of human since birth. When you say exclusive, it is only uh, present or can be found to human, and it is innate to them since they are born in this world. And these possessions, these characteristics, these traits are affected primarily by biological and sociological factors. No? We discussed, or you already knew, that a child can inherit biological characteristics from her or his parents. And of course, as a human being, as he grows old, this will be affected by his environment, particularly the family, the school, the social media, and of course, the other factors that are included and can be located or can be seen in our society. So it is very important to understand human nature. Why? Because uh, for us to know what and how to communicate and to understand, particularly the students or the learners in a school community. As teachers, as professionals, we have to understand the nature, and we have to accept the reality that man's nature is different from another man. And of course, to compare the nature of man to animals and to plants, man's nature or human nature is very uh, different. That is why man is considered as the highest form or in the topmost level of hierarchy of organism. In my uh, presentations with different organization and schools, I always make it a point that we have to understand that human nature is very special and, of course, very different because there is only thin line that separates man and animal. The word instinct, the word instinct. Why? Because human usually uses their intelligence in before giving a reaction or action, while animals react and act basically based on their instinct, while plants, the nature of the plants, they are just following the direction of the wind, whether that is going north, south, east, or west. I would like to pinpoint the difference between man and animals, or animal nature and human nature, because even professionals, particularly those who are in the field of academe, they sometimes forget that there is a thin line between being a human or showing the human's nature and, of course, portraying a nature of animal. Why? Because of the instinct. If we act instinctively, therefore we are showing our deviant behavior. But when we act or react using our intelligence, by thinking, by rationalizing, then we can consider ourselves as in the highest hierarchy of organism. We are acting like a human, or we are really human. No? So I would like to reiterate that it is because sometimes, or if not most often, we used to act and react according to our instinct, or using our instinct, or by our instinct, and it will not, or it does not make it does not make a difference to animal, though animals has intelligence, but of course they are just using it for their survival. But we as human being, we are using our intelligence not only for our survival, but for our for goodness, for our benefit, in order for us to exist in this world. I hope that I made it clear and justify why understanding human nature is very important, because in psychology we have to understand how our mind works and how we react and act. Okay, and of course, though it is affected by our physical traits based on the previous studies, particularly of Lavatier and Dr. Cesar Lombroso of Italy, where they coined, particularly Dr. Cesar Lombroso, coined the term atavism, or in other words, a born criminal. These are those individuals whose physical characteristics can be comparable to early or primitive people, and those people possesses stigmata in their physical characteristics. That's why they were called as born criminal, biological. That is from the school of positivist school of criminology. And of course, uh, our nature as a human is also affected by our society, particularly our peer, our family, the school, the government, the religious organization where we belong. And of course, one of the most powerful group or one of the most powerful influence that affects our nature as a human is the social media. The social media. Okay. So allow me to proceed. One of the human nature, of course, is the human behavior. Human behavior can be considered as voluntary or involuntary attitude of a person. Voluntary or involuntary attitude of a person. Of course, the human behavior can be triggered by a stimulus that can change or can affect directly or indirectly the attitude of a person, whether that is a form of sign, a figure, a music, a another person, maybe a phenomena. So these things can be considered as a stimulus that can change the attitude of a person, that can trigger for the human to showcase or to show his negative, maybe deviant, or violative behavior. No? This is very important to understand because in the concept of criminology, we do consider all of the factors, particularly those that affect human behavior. In education, we have to understand why our students, our learners are acting, reacting this kind of reaction or showing this kind of reaction or that kind of reaction. Why? Because of of the different stimulus that triggers them to act or react. Okay. And of course, as I've said, as we said a while back, human behavior as one of the human nature is affected biologically and sociologically. But the most important thing is it can be modified by learning. By learning this behavior that was developed at early times or at the early period of childhood stage, it can be modified by learning. Now, the role of psychology in education comes in. That's why psychology is very important in education, because once the child started, or once the child started to get in school at the age of 4, 5, 6, until he reaches grade, uh, junior grade, senior grade, college. Of course, the modification of this behavior must be progressive. And of course, this would or this must serve as a uh, honing or a catalyst for him to be honed properly and to become responsible citizen. So human behavior must be understood not only by the family members of the child, not only by the peers, but most importantly, the teachers, the instructors, the professors, who later on will touch the life of these learners. Okay, so once the learner started, or the student or the child started to school, those attitude, those human behavior, those human nature that are innate in them since the time of their birth and prior to their introduction to the school or any learning environment. As a teacher, as a instructor or professor, we must change those deviant or develop deviant behavior of the students. If we can be able to change it into a good one, then in the smallest contribution of a teacher or a instructor or professor to his or her student, is it will serve as a very significant contribution to that particular student or learner. Why? Because you already modified the behavior that was developed particularly from his or her respective family, the immediate peer, his or her neighbor. And of course, once he is introduced or she is introduced in the school environment, we have to make it a point that those wrongful behavior, those deviant behavior that we observe upon their introduction into our uh, school classroom, it should be properly addressed by modifying those behavior uh, and turning it into a good one. And from that on, education proper will start. And effective education can be introduced. I believe in my uh, years of experience as a college instructor that no one can effectively impart knowledge, ideas, and develop the skill of the student without touching first the most essential part of a human, which is his behavior. You cannot effectively impart these learnings that we had. You cannot, he or she cannot understand what we're trying to uh, discuss in the classroom without, of course, uh, good behavior. Because having a good behavior, particularly discipline, uh, the areas of man's life will not be of success. Okay, so that's why uh, the role of psychology in education is very, very important. Okay, so allow me to proceed. Before anything else, and before going to the main topic, I would like to touch Dr. Sigmund Freud's personality theory. And I would like to interpret this one in my best and practical interpretation by, of course, uh, presenting the three uh, parts of personality that, according to Sigmund Freud, are present to anyone else. So, of course, you have this id personality, the ego personality, and the super. I'm sorry for the spelling. I forgot to edit super ego. Uh, so the id is placed at the top, and the ego is placed at the bottom, while the super ego can cover the portion of id and the ego. It is believed that all man or all human has their own or possesses ego. Every man, every human possesses ego. Other authors, other presenters may call this as rationality state, the state of being rational. But for other references, they called it as, or they referred it as ego, referred as the pride. The term is a pride, ego. But if we'll try to understand behind the term ego, every individual as a human being has an ego inside of them, because uh, they they consider themselves, and they accepted that, of course, as a human, they have this intelligence, they have this they have to be respected, they can analyze, they can rationalize, they can of course effectively communicate, and they can provide for their safety and security and for their existence. So ego is present to everyone. Ego is present to everyone. This is being normal. This is being rational. But once our ego is offended, if we heard things against uh, our our integrity, against our morality, against, in general, against our name. So this ego is overrun by our id. So id personality prevails. In Filipino parlance, in the Philippine parlance, we called it, or we called them, and we address these people, people with high ego. I hope that we have this the same kind of observation, no? That you have this kind of high ego or pride. Of course, all prides are high, and all high egos are high. But if you practically analyze these people who projects high ego, pride, the id personality overruns their ego personality. The id personality overruns ego personality because id represents, or it shows the uh, instinctive state of personality, or the personality in its instinctive state, by uh, responding, by reacting, by acting without the use of intelligence. When we say that the person is intelligent, not not uh, to the extent that he is bright. No, the person is intelligent, and the minimum measurement of intelligence is determining or differentiating between right and wrong. But if we react and act using our instinct, then therefore our ego, or our id personality overruns our ego personality. That is why in the Filipino parlance, we called our neighbor as people with high ego or with pride. And in the presentation or in the illustration, what you can see in at the top of the ego is your id. No? At the top of your ego is your id, the the instinctive personality. If ego is rationality, id is instinct, or is instinctive way of showing personality. Use of instinct and use of rationality. Okay? But of course, we always mention that uh, realization is always and can always be found at the later part, at the end. That is why once the person realize that his reaction or her reaction uh, uh, demeans other people, hurt other people, then that would be the time that he will understand that his or her action are bad or evil. Therefore, if superego uh, acts, or the super ego activated, of course, that's our conscience. No? All of the uh, even the criminals, even the hardened criminals, even even a the most notorious individual, or the most notorious criminal, still there is a uh, good side of their heart, and uh, conscience comes in. No? So the super ego comes in. Once the super ego plays in our personality, so it will balance, it will neutralize the the abrupt change of our personality. That's why in the later part, super ego prevails, conscience prevails, and that made uh, human being special and different from animals, and or in general from other uh, organism. That's why we are in the highest uh, hierarchy, in the topmost hierarchy of the uh, organisms hierarchy. Okay, so that's all for Sigmund Freud's personality theory. Remember, the id refers to the instinct, the ego, rationality. The superego is our conscience. Now, the role of psychology in education, particularly for learners. I provided at least five uh, role of psychology in education. I know that many of you, many of our participants, finish the course or the subject psychology in education. And of course, our some of our participants are currently taking up the this course or this subject. But I would like to stress important roles of psychology in education based on my understanding, based on my experience, and of course based on my observations and readings. No? So first, the role of psychology in education, particularly on the part of the learners, of course, we always look into the welfare of our students. That is the most important thing. And of course, we are also looking forward that our student or students, no, after imparting to them the uh, the most important wealth in this world, the education, no, we are looking forward that they will uh, be great, no. So first is we have to make it a point, and we have to make it sure that our student must accept one's or their weaknesses and wrongful behavior. Why? Because acceptance would lead us, or would lead everyone to change. But of course, change is the only uh, permanent in this world. We have to make it a point that our learner, even though in their most uh, uh, precious uh, age, No? They have to accept that they are weak in reading, that they have to accept that they are weak in analyzing and in writing. They have to accept that they commit mistakes. And from that on, they could also easier to accept new uh, ideas, corrections. No? And of course, our students, the learners, must also accept their wrongful behavior. That's why we have to emphasize and we have to explain to them that what they are doing, what they are showing as a learner is bad. We have to tell them that that is bad and do not do that again. That what you are writing is wrong. But in the most nicest way, in the most effective way of addressing the the this wrongful behavior, these weaknesses. Okay, so we have to, by employing methodologies in teaching, strategies in teaching, we have to ensure that our learners must accept their weakness or weaknesses and their wrongful behavior in order for us to effectively impart and to make them strong by providing them and sharing to them our ideas, our experiences, and of course, we can turn them into to be a good uh, citizen later on. Because I believe that you cannot effectively teach a student, particularly a child, without emphasizing first and telling him or her first that these things should not be done in the school. These things uh, should not be carried in the school. So acceptance is first. Second, of course, recognize existing policies inside and outside of the campus. So the learner should recognize that there are policies, there are rules and regulations inside the classroom or outside the classroom. Of course, we are observing this flexible learning approach, your online and offline. We should also emphasize to our learners that when conducting or when attending an online class, no, uh, if not to uh, stop, if not stop, uh, reduce or uh, try not to show or not to do anything that could affect their focus while the class is going on. No, that's why we have to set a policy because these policies, whether inside or outside of the campus, whether online or offline, whether synchronous or asynchronous learning, will this will control the behavior and the attitude of the learner by setting a policy, very just a simple policy. It will control the attitude and behavior of the learner. And from that on, he can focus to what we are trying to discuss or present. No? The learner should recognize that there is an existing policy, there is an existing rules and regulation. that I have to observe. From that very moment, no, he will instill discipline. No, he will control his action. No, the most important thing is his action, of course. Okay. And of course, let us allow our learners to understand the importance of uplifting one's academic and practical intelligence. Academic intelligence and practical intelligence. Of course, no? The importance of uplifting one's academic intelligence. These are things that we have to learn from the school. No? These are the courses, the subjects, the programs that are offered by the school. No? The learner should understand. Learners should understand that they have to know how to read, how to write, how to uh, compute, no? How to calculate, and of course, they should know the basics of science, the basics of mathematics, the basics of Filipino in the Philippines, the basics of values education. So these are academic intelligence. No, these are academic. The history, of course, included. These are academic intelligence. No? We have to let our learners to understand that it is very, very important for them to know the basics of these courses or of these subjects. Why? Because these subjects can be used, no? They can use it daily, no? In everyday endeavors. Okay, and of course, as they go further, the learner should also uplift the practical intelligence, their ability to solve problems, their ability to address the existing problems and any problem that they can encounter, no? Or that they may encounter as they get as they are pursuing their career. So the learner should uh, uplift his or her practical intelligence, the ability to solve, resolve, address problems along the way. Okay. And the fourth one is, of course, instill goodness, godliness, and discipline in oneself. Instilling goodness, instilling godliness, and discipline to oneself should start from the learner, not from anyone else. By following the three: accepting, recognizing, understanding, that that will pave the way for the learners to instill goodness and godliness and discipline to oneself. Instilling goodness, godliness, and discipline to oneself is the most effective way of doing it, and it should not come from the teacher. It should not come from the the parent. Why? Because of course it will create a another direction. It will create a uh, if not if not convergence, divergence or bifurcation or bifurcating way or another way, no, it will create a chaos, no, to the focus of the student. That's why let us explain and allow our learners to accept, allow him to recognize, and allow him to understand, for him to instill goodness, godliness, and discipline in oneself. And of course, once these things are installed already, fulfillment of goals will come. No? Uh, Many theories presented that in the pyramid of man's life, in the pyramid of human development, the topmost is fulfillment, self-fulfillment. No, if you try to refer with uh, the motivation, human motivation, the Maslow's hierarchy of need or human motivation, what is in the topmost or the tip is the self-fulfillment. Of course, if these things, no, are present already, accepted already, recognized, understood, and installed, self-fulfillment comes in. No? That's the time that our learner will attain the his goal or her goal in life. Okay? So that is the role of psychology in education. No? Uh, this will affect how our learner think, how his mental process will work, and of course, how our learner will act and react to any stimulus surrounding him. The most important thing that he has to learn as a learner is to accept, recognize, understand, instill, and fulfill. No, uh, of course, things that he need and the things that he will be using as he is taking the journey towards success. Next, the role of psychology in education for teachers. For teachers. Of course, figuratively, no, a teacher can be compared to a fountain. Why? Because numerous authors of education book described a teacher or teachers as fountain of knowledge. Fountain of knowledge. Okay? So the first is, of course, the teacher should appreciate that knowledge imparts power and skills as a source of strength. So the teacher should appreciate also that knowledge is power and skill will make or will provide strength to them and to their learners. No? So therefore, they have or they have to continue educating themselves, improving themselves, earning and developing skills. Oh, so the teacher should appreciate that. Why? Because in psychology, you have to appreciate things, the small and the big. So therefore, as a teacher, you should or we should appreciate that knowledge imparts power, not only to us, to you, but also to our students or our learners. And the skills, no, the skills will give us strength. Although power is strength, but it will give us an additional uh, strength, no, to uh, be imparted to our students. It will make you different. Having a skill is a different thing uh, if you compare it with the knowledge. Although knowledge, the skills includes knowledge also, but the skills can be developed and it can be, of course, into the level of being an expert. Okay. And we have this recognition. Recognize one's limitation. By recognizing one's limitation, then therefore we are making ourselves open. We are opening our doors for opportunities. There are plenty, no? There are numerous teachers, no, who does not recognize their shortcomings. Why? Because they believe that they are already teachers. Since they are teachers already, they do not want to pursue further studies. Or if they will pursue study, of course, for the sake of compliance and for the sake of ranking purposes. But ladies and gentlemen, my co-teachers, as a fountain of knowledge, we should we should make our reservoir of knowledge a voluminous one, because one way or the other, or in any occasion, no, the level of respect for a teacher is very very high. So our students are expecting too much from us. So therefore, by recognizing our limitation, not only not being technologically proficient, no, you can develop it, you can strengthen it, because those are skills, no? We have to recognize our limitations for the sake that other opportunities, knowledge, ideas, skills, of course, can be developed in us. But first, we have to recognize our limitations. Without recognizing your limitations, our limitations, other opportunities will not come in. That is the the role of psychology in education. As a teacher, we should always be open with opportunities and learnings. And of course, we have to understand that every situation, or we have to understand every situation, our co-workers and our learners, no? So understanding our co-workers situation and the situation of our learners, we have to be considerate to them, particularly in this period of pandemic. particularly when our students are asking for considerations, chances. By giving them chances, by giving them considerations, then we are also giving ourselves a chance, and we are also understanding uh, not only our students and our learners, but also ourselves. So we have to understand. No, don't be affected of the problems from your respective houses or with your respective uh, relationship with your boyfriends or girlfriends. We should treat our students and our co-workers a special people to us. Why? Because we are connected not by accident, not by uh, not by anything else, but of course we are connected by education. And education, as I've said, is one of the most powerful tool in order to change the setup of our society, and of course to change the life of every individual, and of course to change, no, not only the life but the personality. That's why we discussed a while back in the introductory part that learning can change one's mindset, one's behavior, and one's mental process. Okay? So understand every situation. Next, illustrate competence and excellence. As a teacher, you should illustrate competence and excellence. No, particularly in using a technology. No? Do not be do not use an alibi to be an excuse for you not to use a cell phone, a laptop, not to use a projector. You know why? Because students, learners nowadays, no, they are more inspired if their teachers are showcasing technology. And of course, if the teachers are displaying their competence in using tools, di ba? In expounding the topic, in illustrating the procedures, no, in explaining a term, a word to a most uh, simplest word, or by using a most simplest word. No? So we have to illustrate competence and excellence, not because we are a teacher, no, because we would like our students, our learners, to be inspired from us. No? And please don't get me wrong that if uh, early professors and teachers and instructors quoted that the student will never be higher or excellent as compared to their teacher nowadays because of the generation of technology. We have to accept that our students, our learners, will be more competitive than us because of the opportunities, several opportunities awaiting for them. We have to accept that. And of course, lastly, we have to fulfill the utmost role of being a teacher, no? By touching one's lives, by imparting knowledge, by being an example of example of a professional by being competent and excellent, by being a model, of course, in general. So you have to fulfill the utmost role of being a teacher. And of course, this five, combining the five role of psychology in education for teachers, no, uh, fulfillment still, no, is the fifth, or if you put it in the pyramid illustration, that is in the highest. Fulfillment is fulfill the utmost role of being a teacher, not only by sharing, not only by educating our learners, but also setting ourselves as an example of an effective and efficient professionals. Okay. So how about the role of psychology in education for the school? Of course, for the school, we have this: the school should uphold learners and teachers' right. No? Learners and teachers' right. The school should uphold learners and teachers' right. Of course, without upholding the rights of the teachers and the learners, no, it would affect how the learner will uh, communicate, how the learner will tell something about the school. If we will not consider the rights of the learners, of course, they will mention bad words, bad description against the school, and it will affect their mental process and their behavior. If teachers are not given the opportunity to be heard about their grievances, if the school failed to uphold the rights, then therefore the teacher will also mention negative terms, negative words, negative description of the school where he or she is working. Therefore, the way he think, the way he react, the way he act will be affected. So that is the role of psychology in education on the part of the school. And of course, provide quality services and the environment. The school should provide quality services, particularly the management, because quality service, of course, meets clients' satisfaction. And our clients in the school are the learners, including their parents. And the providers are the teachers, the middle management, and the top management. If if the service are poor and the environment of the school uh, are chaotic, are not in proper order, of course it would create a negative reaction, no, to the learners, to the teachers, and in general to the whole community where the school is operating. That's why quality service. That's why the schools are uh, submitting them the management for accreditation. No, the ISO, International Standard Organization, and other independent or government accredi, uh, accrediting agencies. No, and of course the environment. The school environment should be friendly. It should be free from uh, drugs. They are it should free from noise. no bullying that happened within the school, no? And of course, the physical security of the clients, the interest, best interest of the clients should be provided and secured by the school. Why? If the school failed uh, to provide these things, it would create negative image for the or to the school. Then pursue excellence in all school endeavors. The school should pursue excellence. Take note that the school, together with the management, top management, should pursue excellence so that they will encourage more client to come and enroll, and the teachers will stay and be inspired as always. So the school should pursue excellence, not not only the physical appearance or the buildings, colorful buildings, no? Air conditioned buildings or rooms, not only in that particular area, but of course in the area of programs, the area of uh, physical aspect, the buildings, the amenities. But one of the most important thing is excellence. It comes into managing the personnel. Why? Because the personnel, the teachers are the frontliners of the school, no, and the school management should not allow, no, should not allow this or negative things to happen, negative words to come out, no? So therefore, the school should pursue excellence in all endeavor and in all aspect of the school management. Okay, so it would create, no. So in contrary, if the school failed to pursue excellence, of course, it would create negative image. Reactions of the people inside or working inside the school, clients who are in the school, the community, the people surrounding the school, or the people who are living where the school is situated, of course, it would create negative image if the school failed to pursue excellence, no, in all school endeavors and the service. Okay. So those are the role of psychology in education on the part of the school. Uphold learners and teachers' rights, provide quality services and environment, pursue excellence in all school activities. And of course, for the program, role of psychology in education for the program, particularly a subject, subject. If not a subject, a course. If not a course, an activity. Or in general, we call it as a program. Of course, for the curriculum, no, the curriculum developer, particularly the program head, the principal, should ensure that the curriculum should respond to the needs of the learners, that their cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domain must be developed. If the three are the needs, no? If the three are addressed properly, cognitive, affective and psychomotor domain. That's why we are preparing an objective, that this objectives should address the needs of our students, our learners, cognitively, affectively, and of course, psychomotor. No, so the cognitive domain should be addressed, should be developed, the emotion, and of course the skills of the students. So with this, actually in psychology parlance, or in the parlance of psychology, no, the three consists, or the three are these three are the elements of man. Man is composed of cognition, of emotion, and of course of physical attributes. Okay, so those are the role of psychology in education as to the program. The question is, I would like to float this question: how to be an efficient student and professional? I believe uh, you have your own uh, formula of success. No, you have your own formula of success. But uh, to be an efficient student and professional, of course, later on the student will become professionals. I would like to share to you my observations, which are basic observations based on fundamental principles of education, fundamental principles applied to understanding and cognition, that of course we can use to be an efficient student, if you are a student, or as an efficient professional in your own career right now, or if you are pursuing a career. I hope that this will help you a lot. Okay, so to be an efficient student and a professional, of course, the gift from God should be used effectively. What are those? Of course, our senses. Our senses, basically, when those senses are functioning, then you are normal. And you have to be lucky. You have to be thankful for that. We have to be thankful for that. We are normal because of our senses. If one of our senses failed to function, of course, we are addressed as abnormal. Not only with our thoughts, but basically with our senses, the sense of taste, smell, hearing, no, touch. So if there is something wrong, the way you taste, the way you smell, no, most of the doctors said you have this COVID-19 in your body. And I hope, don't get me wrong, but uh, uh, in the most layman's use of term, if there is something wrong with our fundamental uh, physical at faculties, we are considered, or they called as abnormal. As a student, as a professional, we should effectively use our senses, because through those senses we can generate information, and of course when those information, no, if it is generated or if it is analyzed, no, it will become knowledge through your senses. Then you have this data. This data will become information. This information, if if it is processed, then it will become knowledge. And if this knowledge is shared to two or more individuals, then it will become, or it will become wisdom. So it starts with our senses. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, my dear students and my co-professionals, we have to use effectively our senses. And the second one, to be an efficient student and professional, we should improve our thinking skills. We should use to answer the hows and the whys. The hows and the whys. Why? Because answering hows and whys, the ifs will improve your thinking skills. Those informations that you've gathered using your senses, as I said a while back, if you rationalize it, if you analyze it by thinking, then that will become knowledge. By analyzing, by rationalizing, or in general, by applying our thinking skills, that information will become knowledge. Okay? So that's how we have to improve our thinking skills. Okay? And for professionals, we should develop our forecasting skills. These are skills that cannot be observed to uh, frontliners or to ordinary workers. You know, if you have these forecasting skills, then you deserve a supervisory or a managerial position. Why? Because forecasting is a job of a manager, a supervisor, a team leader, no, or a group leader. No, so develop forecasting skills. You should predict what will happen on the next day. That's why planning, no, strategic planning is the responsibility of a middle management to the top management, not by the frontliners or the ordinary workers. So, as a professional, you have to develop that the skill of forecasting. No? You will become an exceptional professional if you try to forecast your growth from the moment that you earn your degree in baccalaureate level, finishing it by forecasting and continuing until your graduate degree and attending seminars, workshop, diploma programs, certificate programs, so on and so forth. So by forecasting, of course, it will make you a extraordinary professional, not an ordinary individual or not an ordinary professional. And that's how to be an efficient and effective student and professional. As a student, you can use this one also. Why? Because, you know, a student is a student, but as a student, you have to pave your way. No? You have to cement, you have to prepare your way to success. Why? By applying, by effectively using your senses, by improving your thinking skills in order for you to pass all the examinations and for you to forecast so that you should know when and where to uh, to proceed or to uh, where to proceed and where to direct by forecasting. Without forecasting, that's why class, ladies and gentlemen, that's why in weather forecasting, they are providing forecast for until 3 days to 5 days weather forecast. Why? For us to be informed what will happen on the next day. It is forecasting. And we have to develop that forecasting skills because for that is for our own benefit. We should forecast 3 to 5 years what will happen to me. 3 to 5 years, uh, I should be working in this or to this company or organization. That is forecasting. No? Okay, so that's how to be an efficient and student and professional. So in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, my co-members here in IGP, my co-professionals, my dear students, please uh, consider and please take note this one, the 7 areas of man's life. The 7 areas of man's life is consist of, or these are physical aspect, physiological aspect. So we have, in order for us to reach the age of 100 or 101 or beyond the expectation of man, then we have to maintain health, good health, especially today that we are experiencing pandemic. So the most important thing now is to maintain physical or good health physically. Second, mental. No, we should always be in good mental condition. No? Why? Because if we are mentally disturbed, we cannot mentally accept and understand things, there would be a problem. Particularly to learners, if they are not mentally ready to face the new approach in teaching, the new modes of teaching, the platforms of teaching and learning, of course, there would be a problem. And of course, our family. No? So, siguro, all of us, no, we we have our own family. So, another one is our financial aspect. No? So, financial aspect comes whenever we have this decent job. That's why we have to focus first our physical, mental, and family. Then you have this financial comes. Then, of course, our professional, no? Our career. We have to prepare for that. That's why we are discussing the role of psychology in education. That's why I gave to you presented to you the role of psychology in education, particularly for professionals, teachers, and the learners. No? So we have to maintain this one. And social life. No? We have to be accepted by the community. And we have to accept the community also. Okay? The spiritual life or the spiritual aspect. No? We have to ask for the guidance. We have to be thankful for the love, for the good health, for the peace, no? For the wisdom, the knowledge and the wisdom that we are accepting and we are imparting. We have to be thankful for that. So these are the 7 areas of man's life that we need to maintain every day. We need to maintain every day. That we need to strengthen every day. And of course, as I've said, in order to maintain the 7 areas of man's life in order to strengthen the areas of man's life will go back to basic. And of course, the basic is we have to discipline ourselves. By imposing self discipline, we may be able to achieve, no, physical, mental, family, financial, professional, social, spiritual fulfillment. No? So discipline, and of course, discipline is the most important thing to man's life, particularly in the parlance of psychology. If man is well disciplined, then he can think properly, he can process things accurately, properly, and meaningful, and he can react and act in accordance to the norms of the society or the place where he lives in. Okay, so thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Hello, Ma'am Dale.
Thank you so much, Sir Dolfo. Wow, that was really amazing. And we appreciate your talk about the role of psychology in different aspects. And with that, we are enlightened with an in depth and comprehensive presentation on the role of psychology in education, which is really crucial and vital, especially to us as teachers, not just as teachers. I'm pretty sure some students who are joining us as well, and some of our school stakeholders and the owners and those who are making or designing the program. So it's such a great reminder for everyone for us to understand, for us to fully understand the importance of psychology. Indeed, today's educational system is highly complex, so there is no single learning approach that works for everyone. And that's why, as it was discussed earlier by Sir Dofo, we need to focus as well on identifying and studying learning methods to better understand how our students or how people in general absorb and retain new information, and to better understand individual learning and inform the instructional process, and to examine how people learn in a variety of settings, to identify approaches, strategies for us to make learning more effective. While, of course, it's basic that interaction with teachers and students in school settings is an important part of our work, especially as teachers, but it isn't the only facet of our job. So there are things that we have to really consider. Learning indeed is a lifelong endeavor, and people don't only learn at school, they learn at work, in social situations, or even circumstances that comes to their lives. So overall, as what Sir Dolfo mentioned, in conclusion, we shall remember to take care and fulfill the 7 areas in our lives, such as the physical aspects, our mental health, family, of course, financial, professional, social, and spiritual areas in our lives. So, wow, that was really amazing. Topic. We sincerely thank you for your contribution and for your precious time from your block timetable. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Sir Dolfo. All right, so once again, I want to remind you all, please support us by sharing, tagging, commenting, and mentioning your friends on the comment box. We will give the e certificate link in the comment box, And if you will face any problem, don't worry, you can collect the e-certificate directly from our website at www.eduigp.com. And after collecting your e-certificate, please don't forget to celebrate with IGP by checking in into our Facebook page. All right. So at this juncture, I think we are ready for our quiz. So we'll have quiz time, and after that, we will proceed with Q&A. All right, everyone, get ready. Hold up your cell phones, your laptop, or whatever gadget that you can use for you to join the quiz. All right, great job. So we've got some participants already who have logged in. Well done. So I see some names. Wow, we've got the first one on the top, Joeline P. Badwa, Beverly N. Amores, Cristobal Natividad, Yaneza Mingi Dorin, Irma Garrigues, Chandru S., Elias A. Austria, Nella C. Sustino, Muhammad Ilyas Calhuro, Elvina Montalvo, Marlon Marmol. We've got Peter James, Janice E. Katchin, Farila Rizahi, Charito de la Rosa, Edam Maulay, and many more. So, for those who haven't joined yet, please go to slido.com, and the passcode is IGP quiz. Also, there's a link in the comment box. Please feel free to go ahead and directly logged into that link. Also, if you've got your phone with you, you can scan the QR code, open your camera photo application, point it on the QR code, and it will immediately go to the website for the quiz. All right, so we see here that we've got 164 participants. All right, so that's a good number. Well done. Thank you so much, our dear, lovely audience. So we've got 169 already. Okay, we've got the first one. Our results of education. What is it? Knowledge or competency? Time's up. All right, 72% has got knowledge and 28 competency, which is the right answer. Moving on. English scientist. Oh, this is a recall question. Is it Bacon or Aquinas? All right, majority has voted bacon, and that's the correct answer. Well done. What is literature? Is it about books and poems or anything that's written? Okay, well done. Majority has got anything written. Indeed, it is. It's an arts. All right, so we've got English is the language of some of the world's greatest literature. This means that you could read books in another language, you could play video games using English. 94% has got the first option. Let's find out. That's the correct answer. Excellent. Next one. What makes the literature we study in English class different from most literature? It is literature as an art form, or most literature is short. We study lengthy literature. 77% got the correct answer. Amazing. Good job. Which English Prime Minister was awarded a Nobel Prize in Literature? Sir Winston Churchill or Sir Edward Heath? All right, 80% have answered Sir Churchill, and that's the correct answer. Well done, audiences. That's nice. Moving on. What is dramatic literature? An overemphasized fight between two characters, a mode of fiction represented in performance. What do you think? All right. It's a mode of fiction represented in performance. 78% has gotten the answer right. Well done. Next, psychology involves the study of behavior in animals and humans, animals, humans, and plants. All right. 75% answered animals and humans, and that's the correct one. Good job. Which of these careers would involve psychology education? Forensic science, neuroscience, counseling, or all of the above? All right. 82% has agreed. All of them. All right. And that's the correct answer. Well done. Last one. Teachers who have no relevant coursework in education and psychology are likely to be blank competent as a teacher. Less or more? Right. 74% have answered less, and that is definitely the correct answer. Because indeed, psychology is needed for us to effectively teach and understand our students. All right, congratulations for the quiz competition winners. Our top 10, and it will be shown as well in our websites, and you are going to receive a certificate. That's an amazing. Right, we have Jeneline. All right, it's going faster. Mikey Villanueva. All right, first one, Jeanneline Villar, Resurrection. Top two, Jeffrey A. Salem. Top three, Gemaline V. Rivera. Top four, Muhammad Ilyas Kalhuro. Top five, Kain Munyunt. Jeneline O. Soriano. For six, seventh, Naum Latihun. Eight, Juan Miguel B. Dilona. Nine, Janice A. Kachin. And 10, Mikey Villanueva. Congratulations. Well done. So you guys are going to receive a certificate competition, quiz competition winners from IGP. Isn't that amazing? All right, so let's shall we move on to Q&A? So please go ahead and write or type your questions in the comment box, and Sir Dolfo will be more than willing to answer your questions. All right, so we're back with our speaker for tonight, Sir Goodison Dolfo. First question from Feruz Akbarov to Mr. Dolfo. Based on your experience in criminology, could you please elaborate on the following? Why recidivist reoffends repeatedly commit similar or crime of different kind? What's wrong with the psychology of such criminals? Can they ever be corrected? If so, how?
So the question is all about recidivist
Right.
reoffends
That's fun.
repeatedly. So the definition of recidivist are those individuals who, after serving the sentence of imprisonment, committed the same offense. So what's wrong with the psychology of such criminal? I would like to use and cite the study of Charles Goring, a anthropologist from England, where he studied numerous criminals and compared how these criminals act and react, how these criminals think and process and analyze. The finding of Charles Goring was criminals in England has this uh, low intelligence, degenerated, and the way they think, the way they process things in their mind is different from those normal individuals. At the same time, as to physical attributes, the positive, no, positivist, as to physical attributes, they have this uh, problems as to appearance and as to the way they communicate, the way they think, in general, their intelligence is low. Therefore, they are considered criminals because, or they can be, uh, or they are often to repeat the crime that they committed because
Mm-hmm.
of these characteristics that Charles Goring found out, no, among criminals in England. You know, the purpose of Charles Goring in studying the criminals in England is to prove the claim of Dr. Cesar Lombroso that criminality exists and criminal behavior can be developed uh, to human because of their physical appearance. That is atavism, or that's why Lombroso came up with the term born criminal. But since the Englishman Goring tried to establish and prove this, but he failed. No? Instead of proving, he found out that criminals has low intelligence, defective behavior. That is why they are vulnerable of committing another crime. That's why in the program of correcting criminals in the correctional institutions, one of the services that must be provided around the globe is to provide a psychological testing, no, and mental health, uh, to address mental health, to address education. That's why technical, vocational are encouraged, no,
Mm-hmm.
and provided inside the jail and uh, rehabilitation facilities, including spiritual, medical, psychological. No? So, did I satisfy the question, ma'am? At the same time, the same study was conducted in United States by Hutton, a
Mm-hmm.
Harvard anthropologist. And he found out that criminals are uh, inferior compared to those non-criminals. That's why they are prone to become recidivist.
Mm.
So that is my answer.
All right. So, yeah, thank you so much for that. Moving on to the next question. I hope Feruz has gotten the answer. All right. Let's have the next question. So please feel free to comment. All right, from Rosebella Malo, what are some indicators of person having voluntary or involuntary attitudes? Does it affect academic performance of the learners?
Okay. So with regards to voluntary and involuntary attitude, of course, when you say voluntary, these uh, controlled, no, and there are stimulus, no, there are stimulus that triggered to there are stimulus that trigger the individual to show this negative behavior. And of course, negative behavior as a result affects the academic performance of the learner. because they are too aggressive in answering, in responding, and in showcasing their answers. And as a lecturer in the field of criminology, I can prove that. Why? Because those students who uh, answers too quick without thinking first, analyzing first, affects how and affects the arriving to a correct answer. That's just an example. With regards to involuntary attitudes, of course, these are attitudes that are inside of the of an individual. That is, those are feelings, no? Or included are those behavior or those actions under a circumstances, maybe uncontrollable fear, or uh, the other one, uncontrollable fear and irresistible force. If you are under uncontrollable fear or irresistible force, of course, you can your act maybe it's not your act. Your actions is evil, but that's not your action because you're under the circumstances. No, that according to that is not your act
Mm.
because you are under irresistible force or uncontrollable fear. Therefore, these things would affect academic performance of students. If you are forced by your parents, your guardians to be more uh, or to perform more, more than the expectations, you will be under pressure. Once you are under pressure, do you think that you can perform well? Of course not. That's why we should not force our
All right, so I think there's something wrong the internet connection with Sir Dolfo. But yeah, I totally agree with what he was telling on us, for example, parents, yeah, for expectation for the kids, our students. Go ahead, sir.
so as a parent, no, we should not force our daughter or son to perform more than the what the performance what our son and daughter can provide or can perform because they are triggered or they will create a negative image can be created in them instead of performing well in the school academically. Of course, uh, negative behavior reactions will be developed. So do not expect too much from our learners, our students. Why? Because attitude really affects academic performance. Negative attitude affects academic performance. Positive attitude also affects academic performance. I hope I answer your question, Ma'am Rosebell Malo.
Yeah, yeah, your answer made sense actually, and I totally agree with it. All right, next one from Nora Nisa Bakar. Good evening, Sir Godison Dolfo. How is important for the educators? How is literature important for the educators?
Ma'am, it seems like that is not my
So
topic.
actually, yeah, because tonight we supposedly have two topics, but the other speaker has something to do, so we were not able to
Sorry,
have that.
ma'am, that is not my
Next
topic.
question we have from Jason Albano Perez to Mr. Dolfo. Why is cognitive development important for teachers?
Of course, cognitive development is very important to teachers. Being a teacher is not a guarantee that you have this well-founded and well-developed cognition. Even
Right.
though you're a professional, ladies and gentlemen, you have still to develop. Why? Because in order for us to teach and to impart knowledge, impart wisdom to our students, we should have this well-developed cognition. We should better understand things around us for us to share these things effectively and efficiently to our students, our learners. So therefore, a teacher whose uh, cognition is not that too developed, it seems like there is a problem in conveying and honing our students, particularly sharing this and developing academic intelligence and practical intelligence of the students. That's why, as a teacher, we should be the first with developed cognition, emotion, and psychomotor.
Mother.
That's why teachers are advised to go or to attend further schooling. Not only, not only taking the master's degree, finishing the master's degree, doctoral degree, of course, by attending numerous trainings that one way or the other would help and would empower us as a teacher. The more powerful you are by 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 means of knowledge, the more strong you are by means of this skill. Of course, the more uh, um, the more encouraged our or inspired our student would be, especially when you showcase your skills, talents, knowledge to your students, no, in every day of your endeavor as a teacher. I'm not a born teacher. I did not finish bachelor degree in education, but in the half of my life, I am teaching in college. That's why my answers are based purely on my experiences, not with the theoretical uh, aspect of teaching. No? And of course, that is an observation of criminologist who turned to be a teacher, classroom teacher. Okay, I
Right,
hope that
right.
answered the question.
Right. And I'd like to quote from what you've mentioned as well, that as a teacher we should have the voluminous reservoir so that we have something to more to share to our students as well. So cognitive development is indeed important. All right, next from Trisha May M. Diamante. Can you give your opinion about the coming election? Well, by this, I think it's in the Philippines, wherein a lot of people are comparing Marcos and Pinoy. I'm asking if what kind of psychological mindset they have that they are bringing back the dead in this upcoming election. Thank you. So let me just
Thank
clarify for our global audience. So this is in the Philippine context for the upcoming
Yeah, that is
election.
in context. Uh, Your question, Ma'am Diamante, is very interesting, but that is political.
Yeah. We don't
Uh,
want.
I have this uh, barrier. I put barrier whenever I discuss politics inside my class
Mm,
or politics with my friends. I put barrier. At the same time, I apply uh, the principle that I have learned in my civic organization, wherein I should not include politics in all of the endeavor or in any endeavor that has nothing to do with politics. You know, Ma'am Diamante, if you always put politics in all the endeavor that you are uh, that you are pursuing or attending to, it seems like there is a problem. With due respect, in teaching, there should not be we should not include politics. In service, we should not put politics. Why? If we include politics every now and then our mind will be politicized, and we are get affected of it. With regards to the putting back or bringing back the dead in this upcoming election, if you will never close the book of the past as far as governance is concerned, it seems like we are just repeating what the history uh, happened or what the previous or the past happened in our country. Why not close the book of the past and start plan, cooperate, participate, use these young generations and consider young leaders also, because I believe that uh, if we always connect the previous or the past experiences, our history, although uh, we do not have the future if we cannot or we will not consider the history or the past, but we have to close it for us to start all over again. If you are affected of the past, then therefore, uh, as a leader, as a uh, as a voters, this coming election, you will be uh, affected psychologically by or on how you're going to choose your leaders, you know, at the time of the election. So that's why not uh, why not look into the credential of this uh, candidate, disregarding the last name, disregarding the the relationship of the previous administrations, whatever their contribution may be. Why not just put a big question at the face of a candidate who are seeking for the position of a president, of a congressman, senator, and why not use in selecting a leader your conscience, not a conscience of considering or basing on what his father or her mother did previously, but conscious of being a professional. A professional conscience always considers the credential of the person, whether the person is prepared to serve or not, whether the person is serious or not, whether he has this uh, ability He has this skill, he has this knowledge, and of course, he can direct and put our country in the pedestal once and for all. That is a conscience of a professional. If you go to, if you no, if you go back with the past, it seems like there is a problem. Why? Because the past will never happen again. No, the past will never happen again. It's up to you and it's up to me and it's up to us, no? Our voting power and our professional conscience can lead us and the Philippines to be a great nation again. But
All
please
right.
uh, start
Yes.
closing the book of the
All
history.
right. Indeed, yeah, yeah. If you stick in the past, then there won't be any progress. Thank you so much. Now let's entertain some more questions from Lorenze Panoncio. Sir, what is or are the psychological effects of having more subjects for primary level learners with their reading, pertaining to grade one learners in particular?
Psychological effects of having
Having more
uh,
subjects, right? So like
numerous
congested,
subjects in primary level.
yeah, on
Of
their
course,
reading
it is
skill.
the nature of the man, particularly a child. We have this nature of the child na they do not want to be uh, they do not want to be pampered. May the nature of a child is to get what I want in the most easiest way, in the most practical way. That is the theory of Sigmund Freud uh, in the child development. That's why in the stage of child development, particularly in grade one, I believe grade one is 6 years old. No,
Yes,
6 years old. Grade one is
in
6 years
grade
old.
12, 6 years old.
Okay. So actually, that 6 years old is in the process of, if I'm not mistaken, in phallic stage. Three, four, five. Phallic, just after phallic stage.
Mm-hmm.
And that phallic stage of child development, no, they are just adjusting. And if they are given these numerous subjects in their primary level, of course, uh, it would affect them psychologically because there is a nature of a child to attain their wants and their wishes in the most comfortable and in the most practical way. That's why they are skip. They are still they are crying. They used to cry if they cannot attain their wants and wishes. That is why, in order for the grade one to be prepared and be uh, responsible enough upon entering the grade one level, they have to surpass the kindergarten or the kinder level. And for me, kinder 1 and 2 are preparatory, not for the purpose of educating the the child in advanced level, but just to prepare these children for their immersion for proper education, which starts in grade 1. So
So,
that's why there is a continuity of
mhm.
education. You start with kinder 1, kinder 2, then grade 1. And of course, the subjects as recommended by the curriculum developer are the most essential subjects. So therefore, as a parent, we have to guide our students or our children. Actually, education is uh, tri uh, partite responsibility, no, by the student, the learner, the teacher, and the parent. Remember that our children is still under our care as a guardian or as a parent. So therefore, although there are psychological effect, but we need to overcome by helping our own child in order for them to surpass this grade 1 level. The most important thing is uh, they would later on they would understand that it is very important to know the basics of these subjects and make it more fun in learning. That's why the teachers, no, they are doing all their best, and they should do all of their best in order to deliver the subject more interesting and catch the attention every now and then by the students.
All right. So well said. Thank you so much. And I agree that especially for the little, I mean, for the foundational um, learners, then we should be able to. I think our main goal for that is for us to introduce learning as fun, and that students would create or they would realize how fun and enjoyment learning is. So they would find learning basically interesting for themselves. Thank you so much for that, Sir Dolfo. And at this time, we'll go ahead and make some announcements. So, dear knowledge seeker, I would love to sincerely thank you all for attending tonight's session. Hopefully, you've learned something new and you will implement it in your life. So, please leave a review on our page and recommend it to others as well. If you learned something or if you have at least helped you a little bit, don't forget to collect your e certificate and please check in with IGP page. Please share the information with your friends as well. And we hope to see you all again on our next webinar. Thank you so much. Please stay happy and please stay safe. We've got some announcement here. Our first webinar series program, 5 parts webinar series. Topic is authentic assessment in teaching and learning. We've got 5 parts from October 1st till October 26th. Please take note of that. So this is an interesting topic as well to attend to. Next one, our second webinar series program. This is a 4 part webinar series, and the topic is teaching English as a foreign language and assessment. So, part one starts on October 2 and ends on October 24 for part 4. Third webinar series program. This has 5 parts webinar series. Topic is about digital classroom engagement tools. Part 1 starts on the 11th of October and part 5 ends on the 15th of October. So it's a consecutive webinar series. For your diploma certificate, please, I would like to congratulate every one of you. It's a great journey. That 1 year has been long, and that was really amazing. So please celebrate with your new achievement by checking in as well with our FB page and sharing more information with your friends, with your family, and your colleagues so they can join our team too. All right, so this is how you can celebrate it. regarding your new achievement. So you can go ahead to our website www.eduigp and please go over to Diploma Cert, and from there you should be able to see your certificate. All right. So if you've got questions regarding your diploma certificate, please feel free to comment and contact our FB page as well. You can always leave a message. All right, so that's it for the announcement. Again, we thank you so much. So please, after collecting the certificate, please don't forget to celebrate with IGP by checking in. By your check in, we can understand more of our services, your attachment, and your pleasure. We hope to see you all again in the upcoming webinars. Please face the pandemic with smiles on your faces and warm positivity. Please stay happy and stay safe. I am your host, Vrendale, signing out. Once again, thank you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye. All right, we've got the certification process for today's program name, September 27th. Certification link is now available in comment box and pinned comments. Also, it's available on our Facebook page, Facebook group, YouTube description. So you can claim your certificate in two ways. First one, so you may directly go to the link from the comment box, pinned comment or post description in the YouTube channel. Or if you are not able to click this link, please directly browse www.eduigp.com for all information together. And you may find today's program, then the process are the same. All right, so again, here's how you can do it. You can browse eduigp.com on the given link, and you will be directed in this page of our website as it's shown on the screen. Make sure you have to click enroll now, and from there you'll be able to see the code. So if you are new, please create your account. If you have an account, then you may log in directly. After that, you may find the seminar title and get enrolled. So here it is, your certificate code for today's program. Code, we have IGP2233. Please remember, without code, no one is eligible for certificates. And with code, you can claim your certificates anytime. So you may screenshot or please take note of the code as shown on the screen now. So again, for today's program name, I mean, program on the code is IGP 2233. Our today's program is about the role of psychology in education. All right, so how do you enter your code in our website? So you just have to make yourself enrolled, and then from there, it will ask your certificate code. Type in IGP2233 and hit get your certificate. Now your certificate is ready, so anyone can claim it. Our free international webinar certificate is auto downloadable in PDF file. You don't need to download it manually. So please check your device file manager. Sometimes it looks uncompleted, which is for your mobile screen size. In PDF file, everything should be okay. If nothing is found in your file manager, please check your browser settings, or please update your browser or try it with another browser or from another laptop or desktop. Also, you can join our all live programs from Facebook page, Facebook group, YouTube channel, or website. If anyone missed any program due to some unavoidable issues, still you can attend the previous webinars with verified certificates. Dear participants, please take notes of our upcoming webinar tomorrow, September 28th. Topic is innovative teaching strategies amidst pandemic. And we've got two speakers from the Philippines. This is timely, very timely and relevant. All right, so we've got on September 29th, communication skills in teaching and learning process. We've got three speakers from three different countries. So that's something to look forward to. And one more on 30th, healthy living equals successful living. So we've got four speakers rather. So this would be a nice one to attend to. All right, October 1st, authentic assessment in teaching and learning, part 1. So this is the first webinar series. Make sure to tune in on October 1. We've got two speakers for this. And next, on the 2nd of October, here comes the Teaching English as a Foreign Language and Assessment, part 1. All right, and on the 3rd of October, we've got Acing the New Normal Education. We've got three speakers for this, so it's gonna be morning session. So please take note of that. All right, so please book your schedule. Please visit www.eduigp.com for these sessions. Another one in the evening session, we've got disaster preparedness and climate change adaptation. Same day, October 3rd. But again, this will be in the evening session. All right, so moving on, authentic assessment in teaching and learning, part 2, which will be held on October 4th, evening session. And next, October 5th, competency-based teaching evening session. So please take note of this. All right. Moving on, your certificate code again for today's program on the role of psychology in education. We've got the code IGP 2233. Remember, without code, no one is eligible for the certificates. With code, you can claim your certificates anytime. All right, so that's it for tonight, and thank you once again for tuning in. Then I'll see you next time. Have a good night. Goodbye.